out there to count every blade of it. It is, and I'm not even being sarcastic, folks. And before we go any further, listen, I don't have an ego, so I'm not saying or doing anything out here to offend anybody's intelligence. I am willing to admit, without a shadow of a doubt, even the youngest passenger is a lot more intelligent than I am. I am the least intelligent person on the boat. Now that we got that out of the way, guys, you don't want to be where we are right here after dark. I know this area very well. I spent 2 nights right where this boat's sitting. When my grandfather brought me out, he wanted to go out here. That grass, this stuff, the cattail that looks like it's going forever, it doesn't. It's not a mirage. But at 5 miles out there, it starts to thin out. It starts to get replaced by something else. And then at 6 miles, there's not a blade of it left. It gets replaced by something that's not even an actual grass. It's in the sage family, called sawgrass. But we can't go calling that stuff sausage because it just wouldn't work. Now, that being said, you better hope this boat goes to fire up in a little while when I get on the back of her. Because if she don't, we're here after dark. I'm going to say this, lenient, this mathematical expression. Expect tonight, for what I'm holding in my hand, just this one, 75 to 100 mosquitoes. Realistically, you're probably talking 200 plus. Get the picture of what you're looking at now. Now, why are they here? They're not here by the wall or the fence line. Look at the choppiness of the surface of the water there from that nice east breeze we got blowing. But look at it in here. It stops. You get 100 yards in this grass. The water's only about that deep, folks, and it doesn't move from the wind anymore. Mosquitoes are in this stuff right here for one reason, to breed. Look around. What is there for a mosquito to eat here? Nothing but us's. More than one us. Now, before it got dark, and I didn't know what was coming out, my grandfather starts to get real panicky. His southern drawl was so deep, when he spoke slow, I could barely understand that man. I was only 6. But when he started speaking frantically, I couldn't make out a word the man said. And he was in an uproar, and I could see him sweating profusely. And I said, Grandpa, what's wrong? He says, we're going to need us some ARF. We don't catch us an ARF real quick, we're going to be in big trouble after dark. I haven't been here after dark since I was a kid. I'm not coming out here. I said, Grandpa. And he kept saying this word, an ARF, an ARF. I had never heard of an ARF. I had never seen an ARF. But this creature, whatever it was, if we had one, it would protect us. And I said, well, Grandpa, how do we catch an ARF? He said, you fool, we don't catch it. It ain't an animal. I keep it in my first aid kit. So he finds his first aid kit. He opens this thing up. I don't see any gauze, bandages, peroxide, and no snake bite kit. But Grandpa pulls out something that looks like a can of green spray paint. I can read all 26 letters of the alphabet, and I'm looking at it, and the can doesn't say ARF on it. It says OFF, ARF. That's what he calls it. Now, we spray ourselves from head to toe in this here ARF, and if y'all work for the ARF company, I'm sure it's a mighty fine product. It might do a lot for a civilized mosquito, but it won't do nothing for these. Because tonight, when the lights go out, a black cloud comes out of it, and it's going that way. So if you're west of that cattail grass back there, you're in good shape. But if you're right here, this is the worst place in the world to be. So imagine whether you're 6 years of age or 600 years old. 10 minutes after sunset, even with the ARF on you, you have a layer of mosquitoes, I am not exaggerating, almost a solid 10 inches thick on you from head to toe. And no matter what you do, you can't get rid of them. Because what happened was, if you had this little breeze like we have right now, we'd be fine. Exhale, carbon dioxide's leaving. There was no breeze. The mosquito gods were out for us. Each time we exhaled, we were just surrounding our bodies in a cloud of our own carbon dioxide, and they found us. Not one of them had to go beyond this point that was straight behind us. You'd wipe off your arms, you got a pile of mosquito this big, smack them in the water, instantly they're back. You can stick your finger in the air and kill them in a thick cloud and feel them. That's how bad it is. I'm not making this up. Now, for that reason, guys, don't panic. If this boat doesn't start, I know the owners of this park have been leasing this place ever since I was a kid. They know the long version of that, their ARF story. They know I'm not going to be here after dark. Guys, we got 2 automobile engines on these things. These are old 76 Cadillacs. Do engines break down in cars? We got 2. Now, if we have a mechanical problem, don't worry. Secret weapon, better than ARF. It's called a cellular phone. One phone call, I say one word, help! They send out a boat. Because we do have breakdowns. Guys, you don't get your feet wet. We tie our boats together. You walk from this seat right here to this one. You don't get your feet wet. Did y'all ever hear that old saying about the sea? Captain stays with the ship? Bull, this ain't the sea. No, this is the Glades. I get in the boat with you. Call me a coward. I'll give that guy a can of ARF, and he's on his own. Now, where Captain Randy's turning around. And incidentally, how many Floridians do I really have aboard? I know I got at least one. Anybody else? Okay. Do you remember the drought last year, you two, around July? Yeah. Now, I call your house and your backyard, your own backyard, that's your front yard. This is your backyard, and it's theirs too. You might have burned up your grass in your front yard, but what happened out here, it brought tears to my eyes. We are in the flats. The only water out here last July was in the canals. There was no water in these flats. Now, you might think, hey, that happens every year to the Glades. Yes, in some areas. It never happens here. This is the wettest region of it. We're the east point of the Glades here. West is straight back. I had to look on my notes. The last time there was no water right where this boat was sitting in my 42 years, 1988. Now, I'm not a meteorologist, but you two, you can come back to the park and punch me in the mouth if I'm wrong. That drought we had last year is nothing. And I'm no meteorologist. The signs are telling me this. Why it's simple. I would be guessing. Let's see. How many feet of water would you say that is right there, honestly?
2 tops.
Two tops.
Yep.
Do you know I looked on my notes last night? May 15th, right here, last year, dude. 8 feet of water. I call this Grandpa's and mine deathbed right here. That's what I call it, the deathbed. That's telling me we are about 5 feet short of water already compared to what we were last year. So summer's coming and we need some rain, and we're not getting, I'm not trying to rain on anybody's picnic, but the signs are telling me we are in big trouble this summer.
I have a quick question. Is this salt water or fresh water?
No, sir. Now, we do have all 3 types. This is fresh water. If you're from the south, there's sweet water. Okay. Either one, you're correct. We got brackish and salt. Real quickly, you know where the ocean is. Let's say Hollywood Beach, straight up. It's not really Fort Lauderdale that way. Solid salt water at the ocean. Then brackish. Then here, fresh. Now, we keep going west. Just like there's a little bit of ethnic diversity here, sir, the diversity on this ecosystem is so incredibly different. 10 miles away. Now, not that I do this, but you got to imagine this, hypothetically. If I had you all sedated for 24 hours right now, and I just went and dropped you off on an island 10 miles from this, when you woke up this morning and looked around, most of you would have no clue you're still in the United States. All you'd know is you're in a tropical climate. Now, as we go out that way, you go from east to west, you get to the center of Florida, it rises a little bit, very little. Then you have a dry section of the Everglades with no water. Bald cypress trees. Ladies, almost 400 species of the most drop-dead gorgeous orchids on this planet resides in the branches of those trees. Look up something called the ghost orchid when you get home. That's where your exotic mammals are. Keep going west, you'll hit brackish water, and we do have natural islands out here, the 10,000 islands. Okay, then solid salt water, marine life. So with the ecosystem, the diversity of wildlife and animal behavior changes from point to point out here.